Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over how to upload to data.gov.au. So first step, obviously we've got to log in to your account. Once you've done that, it'll open up your organisation feed. So these are obviously datasets if you're uploaded, but if this is your first time, obviously this will be empty. You can go to datasets, add dataset, and then you can get straight into it. So today I've just grabbed some Geelong lighting. Obviously you can manipulate and change the data before you get to this step, because you don't want to upload lots of information that you might not want to use. But I'm pretty happy with this one. Alright, now we're getting to the fun part. Metadata. Everyone loves that. So as you can see, yours is going to be blank because you're adding a new data set. I've just pre-loaded this just to speed up this video a little bit. So we'll start off with the title. This is a personal thing. I like to put the data set and the organisation after the data set. You can do whatever you like as long as it properly describes your data set. Description, I just quickly get straight into what the data set involves. So for me, there's 24,000 lights. We'll talk a bit about watts and lamp type. So without opening up the data set, you know what you're going to get. And then you can put a little disclaimer, which is always good to have, especially with council data. Keywords here. So what you need to try and not do, which I've learned after a long time, try not to use anything that's already in the description or the title in here, which I probably have. So I've used light. I don't say lights, I guess so. But what you really want to do is use keywords like asset, because then you want to start grouping a lot of your data sets together. So if you end up creating your own portal like we just have, you could have assets and it will have 30 data sets or something like that, and you click it, and then every time you put the keyword asset in, it's going to link those data sets too. So it's really cool. But yeah, it's always good to have a spreadsheet now. Again, what I've learned the hard way, and linking all your data sets to a good 10 keywords. Right, next is licensing. So this thing here, Creative Commons, it's just awesome. So obviously before this is in place, you used to have paperwork that you would have to send to a contractor or someone downloading your data or using your data. They would sign it and then fax it back to you or mail it back to you, and you have to wait and then sign it again, and then it was just a long process. It's pretty much puts a link to Creative Commons. It says they're free to share the data that you're putting up. They can adapt it, they can transform, mix it, they can do anything with the data as long as they give the appropriate credit to you, and you provide the license link to them, so that they know that. So obviously your organisation, it's already going to pre-fill it out to yours. Next step, we've got visibility, so public or private. Normally you can set your data set to private, so once you publish everything, you can go back and you can have a look, make sure you haven't done any silly spelling mistakes or something, and then you can reset that to public. Or if you're pretty confident, if you've been doing a lot of data sets throughout the day, you don't want to keep sending them to private and then going back in public, you can send them straight to public. So for example, we'll just go to public. So geospatial coverage, so this one here, like you're saying, please input the following. You can put a polygon, bounding box, boundary, all that kind of stuff. I find it best just to type where is your data, so I can just type in. Oops, I stuffed that up. I can just type in Geelong, and then a drop list will come up, and then you just pick your area. And all that's doing is when you publish this, you open up this page, and it's actually just going to have an inset box. In the left hand corner, it's just going to show roughly where your data set sits in the world. It's like a little map. Next thing we've got is temporal coverage from, so you can say when the data started, so it can range back, or you can just publish today's date, because that's where the coverage is from you publishing it now. It's always good to look a month back and you go, oh, okay, that's it's coverage from a month ago, it might be outdated. And then you got coverage to, so that's obviously if you had some historical stuff, it stopped at 2014, you can put a date where it's it's no longer being updated, or the coverage is run out, so it could be a data set that was only for last year and they're not doing it again this year. So data status, you got active and inactive. So again, inactive would be for historical data. It's not going to be updated like I just said. And then active is you're going to consistently add to it or update the data. And this is how often you're going to update it. So once you get your automatic processes going, you can publish automatically to data.gov.au, and maybe that might be a future video here. But at the moment, you kind of want to do it maybe maybe annually. That's what I reckon. It's depending on how many data sets you got, because you don't want to spend your whole, every day just uploading data sets. So annually, and you can do it for for GovHack. Obviously, you want all your data sets to be updated. So you just set aside a week or a month, or depending again how many data sets you got, and for that month you can just go through and update everything, and then you can set it as annually, or whenever the data set, it might be 6 months every time it gets automated or updated, and you can just update it then. This function theme tool here, I actually leave this blank. You can drop down. It's actually got some really good fields you can attach this to, but I personally haven't found a use for it. But yeah, you can obviously let me know if there is. I just haven't found one, so right now I've just been skipping that step. And then obviously you got your publisher, so you can set this to a set individual if you wanted, or a department inside your organisation. For us, we just leave it as City Greater Geelong, but for the contact, we actually put our GIS team in here. So one thing, a few questions that I have got before is the contact. Shouldn't that be of who owns the data? So if I put drainage up there, and you get a call to the GIS team and say, hey, look, this drain pipe is leaking or something like that, because you could do it's good just to have the GIS team, because they're the ones that publish the data, but then if they get a call like that, then they can redirect them to the appropriate people. Or you can even put it inside your data. So a few of our data sets will actually have, you might click on, not our drainage data, but we'll use it again for example. You could click on a drain, and then it could have a maintenance number or a contact number inside the data set as well, and you can redirect them to that. So yeah, that would be pre-filled. Geospatial topic, again, this is another field that I have yet to use or see a benefit. So I leave that one blank as well. Data models, so here you can link this to other data sets, but again, most of my data sets can be linked anyway, without relabeling here, so I leave this one blank as well, unless there's two really good data sets that are meant to go together but you've published them separately for some reason, then I would put that in this box here. And again, I'll leave this one blank. Awesome, now you just have to click next right here, and then we can actually upload the data. Alright, so this is uploading the data. So again, you just got to put the name of the actual data that you're uploading, and then a small description. The format that you're going to do, so for example, we're going to do a shapefile, and then you can click the upload button here. So I've already zipped up my shapefile. So obviously you have to zip up shapefiles because there's a lot of extensions here, and it only does one file at a time. So you put it all in one zip, and then you click open. What you got to do is, see how it says extract resources from zip files? Make sure that's unchecked. The only reason you want to check this file is if you've zipped up multiple things, like a PDF, a CSV, and a shapefile, or something like that, and then it will extract them out to what they need to be. But for example, for a shapefile, don't check that. Last modified, obviously today. Update resource. Yours will probably say add dataset. Alright, so now you'll be seeing this page where you can actually just go through and just double check, just spelling and everything's good. And here's that bounding box extent that I was talking about when you typed in your area. And now if you wanted to set it from private to public, if you didn't check that, then you just click manage. Alright, now it's loaded, so you can actually just scroll down and set yours to public if it was on private. And when you're in this tab now, so obviously you've clicked manage, and if you wanted to add more data to the data set, you can click on resources like I just did, add new resource, and then add another data set. Add some more data. You chuck in a CSV or something like that. So one thing I will note is we've uploaded the shapefile. Data.gov.au overnight will now create a GeoJSON from my shapefile. If you put a CSV or something else, it will not update that. So that's why I'm doing a shape. Alright, if you've got any questions, my details are below this video, and just send me an email. I'm happy to give you a hand. Alright, thanks for your time. Bye.